Good morning, everyone. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills. And as you can see, this morning I decided to go out and purchase 100 pounds of San Marzano tomatoes, and I plan to process these all in one day. That is a big job for me in a small kitchen, but I'm hoping to get through it fine. And of course, to assist me in that job, I've pulled out my electric tomato press, and what this does is it removes all the seeds and the peel and leaves me with a tomato puree. Now, my mother bought this for me probably 40 years ago now. And for anyone interested, that's what my little potato, dehydrated, homegrown red potato looks like. Lovely little chips. And we did have some fresh for French fries, and they were awesome. So I'm going to do half of them in fries and the other half in little dehydrated chips like this. And I suppose I had an overly ambitious thoughts this morning, and I did get Mark to cut them up for me, and I was going to process them this morning before I started my tomatoes. But I do think that that whole thing is terribly ambitious, and I really don't have enough burners on the stove to be able to do all that. So this is going into the refrigerator, and I will can them up tomorrow morning. So I'm just sitting them in water overnight in the refrigerator, which shouldn't hurt them at all. And of course, the first stage of doing my tomatoes is to put pots of boiling water on the stove. And I have filled up both sinks with clean, fresh water, and they will both be getting, all the tomatoes will be getting a double bath, first in one and then in the other. So that is stage number one. Wash and then boil all the tomatoes. Okay, and once we put these in the boiling water, the intent here is not to blanch, not to cook, but sort of in between. We are waiting for the skins on the tomatoes to split. So once they've split, then we're good to go and we can pull them out and strain them. Now, normally I would have done this job outside. I used to have a big stainless steel sink where I was able to wash the tomatoes outside as well, and it would also drain outside. And I used to have a great big pot or cauldron that I could put a whole bushel of tomatoes in to wash at one time. Sorry, not to wash, to boil at one time, rather than these 3 small pots. And these are the largest pots I have, and I have saved them specifically for this purpose. So there was part of it that I would do inside, definitely, but yes, the washing and the boiling of the tomatoes normally I would have done outside. And in the big pot, certainly they, when you're doing a whole bushel at once, it does take a lot longer to come to a boil. But it is a one-time rather than, fill this little pot, take it out and strain it, fill this little pot, take it out and strain it. So the process was a lot easier, I guess, doing it in a larger format. Okay. Okay, well, here is where I am starting to strain them. And as you can see, there was some water at the bottom of that strainer. And to help it along, I'm using a potato masher to squish them down a bit. And yeah, just drain what came out quickly, but you want more water out of that. You want more pulp and not so much water. So, and this is also where a food grade 5-gallon bucket comes in very handy. Okay, so that is the process that I use. I wash the tomatoes, I boil them, I strain and, well, drain and strain and load up this bucket until it is full, and then I start on a second one. Okay, so while my tomatoes are cooking, it is time to unpack and assemble my electric tomato press. And this item is discontinued long ago, so there's absolutely no point in listing it as the item I use, but it is a tomato press. Now, there are manual ones available as well, and I did purchase a manual one last year for smaller jobs because this one is definitely well suited to doing large quantities.
Well, it appears as though I didn't have my microphone on the whole time this morning, but I have remedied that, and I have almost completed boiling 2 bushels of tomatoes. I'm on my last batches. I have added any that were ripe from my garden except the grape tomatoes. I'm not going to process those just yet. We can still eat those as salads. And I have, a couple more left. These ones are straining. These 3 all have, the 3 pots all have tomatoes in them, waiting for them to boil. And once they've boiled, then they're strained and drained, and then we start the process on my machine. Meanwhile, the machine has been set up. I have cleared the whole table. I have a food grade bucket for the puree to fall into. And let's see if I can arrange that better. You know what? Yeah, that might work. And then I'm going to need another item here to catch the peels and the seeds. Let me see what I can find. Okay, that should work. I got another couple of buckets. You know, these 5-gallon buckets sure come in handy, so I piled one on top of the other and just put a bowl here so that my puree can fall directly into that bucket. Now, okay, I've got everything all set up. I have fed the hopper. It has tomatoes in it. And I have the bowl for the waste, which is the seeds and the peel. And I'm going to turn the motor on. And it is extremely noisy. And as you can see, I have beautiful puree pouring out into my 5-gallon bucket, and I have the waste here. Okay, I'm refilling my hopper. I should be able to get another bowl full out of that. And this is still extremely hot, so you have to kind of be careful not to burn yourself. And here we go again. Same process again. Okay, I've got 2 pressure canners on the stove. I am not going to pressure can these. I am going to water bath can them. And so that means I can only put them in 1 layer at a time. And that means I can only do 9, 18 at a time. And I've got lots to do. So I'm going to get cracking here. And let's see. You can see the 2 canners on the stove. I have 19 jars ready. I'm going to process a little bit more juice to see if I can get this 1 bucket full before I fill those up. But I want to get the jars filled and canned as soon as possible because it's going to be a long day as it is. Okay, there is my 5-gallon bucket full. As you can see, I have, well, not full, but quite a bit full, and going to stir and mix this up a bit. And this is when you would add your lemon juice. So I would say probably about a cup of lemon juice for this batch. Okay, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to prepare my jars and lids and rings. Okay, so for those of you who are new at canning, I have washed all my jars. I have prepared a little bowl of vinegar to wipe the rims. I have placed lids in hot water, and I'm ready at this point to fill these up. And the process is, where's my, there she is, handy dandy. I just use this thing to fill these. It's just so much more convenient. Okay, so my tomato puree is here. I'm gonna put that out of the way for the time being. Okay. So you want about an inch headspace. Okay. And I'm going to do 19 jars, 9 and 9 or 18 jars, because that's what I can put in the canner right now, and then I'll puree some more. So now if I was pressure canning, I could put more, but I really don't like how tomatoes turn out when they're pressure canned. I have done it, and I just don't know what the issue is, but they don't seem to turn out quite as nice. And this scoop seems to be just the right amount. Close to it anyway. That one is a bit much. Okay. Now, this puree is used for marinara sauce, pizza sauce, chili. That's pretty much it. I don't know what other uses you would have for it, but those are the main ones. Oh yeah, tomato soup, definitely. So if I was going to make salsa, certainly I wouldn't puree it. That's a different technique altogether. Okay, but considering the amount of pasta we eat in this house, this is pretty much ideal for us. Okay, I think I can complete 9 jars here and get some of them out of my way. Now, just for the ones that have too much, and the ones that have too little. And that's why I like to do more than one at a time. I can adjust the amounts that I have in each one if it's too much or too little. Okay, just need to find a paper towel. And I've got my vinegar here, so I want to clean the rim. Put a lid, and then a ring. I'm going to wait till I've completed 9 before I put them in the canner. Well, I'm glad I'm at this stage. Still, it's a long day. Will be nice when they're all canned. So I just snug. Now you do learn what the sweet spot is, and you snug it up that much. People say finger tight. I don't know what finger tight is, but I found the sweet spot that works for me, and that's what I do. So it's snug. Pull back, just snug would be the term I would use, I guess. So I've got 4, 5 more to go to get one of these canners going. Now, because I've got so many going and so many, these canners are going to be refilled over and over again, I already added the vinegar to the water. And for those of you who don't know, the reason you add vinegar to the water is so that the minerals in the water do not deposit on the outside of your jars and make them cloudy. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's 10. Okay, we're good. Okay. Okay, first batch is in the first canner. Okay, now I'm going to prepare the second batch of 9, and then we're going to wait for them to come to a boil. And by the way, when you water bath can, you have to have at least a couple of inches of water above the jars. Now, these, because I'm using these big canners and just one layer, I have, well, at least 3 inches over the top of the jars, so I'm good to go there. No issues. So, yeah, now the next batch, another 9, and then when everything comes to a boil, we let it process for 40 minutes. 40 minutes for pints, 45 minutes for quarts. Three, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Nope, that's not a chip. Let's use this one. Okay. Okay, I'd say those are about even now. Just going to wipe off the major spills, and then I'm going to get a fresh paper towel for the edges. Okay. Again, vinegar to clean the edges, to clean the rims of the jars, a lid, and a ring. And so I do this until I have every jar filled and processed, and I'm already exhausted. Anyway, should get, let's see, 2 bushels of 50, 15, 30, 60, anywhere around 70 of these jars. I'm hoping to get around 70, maybe more. That was just a quick calculation. I usually get about, let's see, if I was going to do quarts, I'd get between 15 and 18 quarts. So double that for pints. So it's 32 or more. 30, 36, yeah, so definitely should get 70 and hopefully more, and that is nowhere near enough. I need to do at least another 70 beyond this, but hopefully I'll get that out of my garden, and we'll do it in smaller batches, and that's when I'll bring out my manual machine, and it does exactly the same job, except that it's not electric, and it's a little bit easier for me to clean, or a little less work for me to clean. The big machine isn't worth it unless you're doing a few, at least 1 bushel, the way I see it. If you're doing less than that, So it all depends on how much I get out of my garden at one time. Like if they ripen very quickly, then maybe I'll continue to use the big machine. So I won't put it away just yet. Okay. Great, so now second batch goes in the canner and we continue along. And I've got at least an inch above water here, but I think I want to add just a bit more water in this one. Okay. Okay, this is the next morning, and all my tomatoes are done. Every jar has sealed, and all that is left to do is remove the rings, wash the jars, and stash them away. And this is probably only about half of what I'll do, but the next time it will be in drips and drabs out of my garden, because there's no way that my garden will produce bushels at one time. So here we are. Most of it's done. And I hope you enjoyed this video and you'll come back for the next one. Have a great day.